Okay, shall we get started? Everybody good? Can you see the screen and hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm Jerry with TotalCom. Just taking over for Mason here, who came down sick and is quarantining at home as we speak. So I'll try to run through this and show you what you need to know about the change that's coming up. And so you guys currently have the ECC contact center, and we're going to be migrating you to the newest version, the latest version of software soon. And most of the features really stay the same, so you're not going to lose anything. It's just the way you go about accessing and logging into the system that looks and feels a little different, but most of the functionality is still very similar, or if not the same, you just access it a different way. So I'm going to show you a few things here about the client. So when the upgrade is done, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have the built-in the contact center login is built into your communicator, where you interact with the call center inside of your actual communicator itself. Is that correct? I assume that's going to be true. So you actually log in through the actual communicator. You click the little button inside the communicator to log in and log out of the queues.
Yeah.
I would say
Okay.
yes, Jerry.
Yeah, it's how it looks to me, but I can't see it. So, okay, so the main thing that when we start, you're going to be accessing your contact center through a web browser now. So you'll have an icon on your desktop that will just launch this page that you see here. And as an agent, you'll have these features available to you in a web browser separate from your communicator. So the communicator will still be there in function and do the same thing it always did. You'll just access it from here instead of from where you were before. So when you first hit the screen, you'll be requested for your username and password, and that should be the same as it is now. And once you log in, you'll land on this screen as an agent. And this is where you'll be able to do things like log in, log out. And I'll just show you from starting here from left to right. You can see that you can see your status right here as your agent. You can see that you have the ability, this little door right here, you can log into all your queues. Or you can use this little pull down here to choose the queue. I don't think you guys have the personal queue set up there, but these are our test queues here. And you can see by clicking these little buttons here, you're telling the system, log me into this queue or not log me into this queue. Generally speaking, you guys only have one queue, so it's probably going to log you into all the queues, and that's all you need to know about that. So that's where you log yourself into certain queues or out of certain queues. So log in, log out, and you can see your status change. Also, to the right of this, you'll see a button that says stop taking requests or start taking requests. And you can, this is where you do your release and resume. So what's called release and resume on the old client is now called start taking requests. And so you can be logged in as an agent and then tell yourself, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go to lunch. I'm in training, or I'm in a meeting, or I got an approved busy condition. These are programmable, so this is just demo codes that are in here, but this is where you tell the system I'm going to go into release mode. Does that make sense? So release, resume, stop taking requests, start taking requests. So you log in and log out, and then while you're logged in or logged out, you choose these options. So we got a latecomer here. There we go. Okay, did everybody? Perfect. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hopefully nobody lost my screen. So those two, okay, good. So those are the two main things. This is how you log in and how you log out. And this is how you release and resume as you've been used to seeing it before. And that as an agent is the main 2 or 3 things you really need to be able to do. Log in and out, start taking requests or stop taking requests. Over here to the left, you'll see you will have the ability to view other agents that are in the queue. So if you click on the agent bar here, you can see that there's other people in this group and that they are currently logged into these queues. So you can see the status of your other agents here. and you can also see the status of whatever queues you're a member of. I'm going to show you a live call here with any luck. So if I'm sitting here, I'm going to go start taking requests because I'm logged in and now I'm available, and I'm going to dial the queue so you can see a call. It's being queued up right now. Now here comes a real call. So now I can see some information being presented here. I can click on this green button and answer it. The information is now presented here. I can see the caller ID of who was calling. I can see the caller name if it's presented. I can tell which group it came from, and I can tell which phone number they dialed and if there's any priority set to this call. So this is a live active call. This is your call window right here. Right, and this is what's going on with this call in real time. And then on the right-hand side of the screen here, you can see the options that you have during this call. You could enter a wrap-up code if you were going to ready to end this call. I'll just show you what that looks like when we're done here. So you can request help if that's set up. You can transfer the call by a consulting or a blind transfer, and the difference between that, if you're not familiar with that terminology, if you consult, it will let you talk to the person you're going to transfer the call to first, then release it to them or take it back. If you blind transfer it, you're just going to dump the call on somebody. Right? You can also do a conference call from here, or you could transfer it to your own queue. I just did that. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. And then when you want to put in a wrap-up code, you just select your wrap-up codes like you're used to doing here, and these are obviously programmable. And then when you're done, you just end wrap, and that's it. So that call's done. Let me get this back here. There you go. Okay, so that was a real call. It came in, it popped up into my queue. Agent interaction, so you can see who's on the phone, what the other agents are doing, and you can see the status of the queues. If you notice down at the bottom, you'll see this, what we call a KPI or key performance indicator bar. And when you log in, however we are told to have the system set up, you will see this real-time, this heads-up display down here at the bottom of the queue, and it'll show you how many calls are holding in queue for each group, what the average wait time is, how many idle people are logged in, idle agents are available for that queue, how many total agents are in that queue, and how many are in release mode, and how many calls are abandoned. We can customize this field on the bottom to show you the KPI things that you guys want to see. So this is just a demonstration of the things that we can show on the queue, and you can see that down here when you're logged in and get a good real-time idea of what's going on. Let's see, a couple more things to remind you about. One, if you ever see, or if you do the automatic callbacks, then I think you guys have the outbound calling. So let me show you a quick picture of what, I can't just demonstrate this live in our lab switch, but I can show you what it looks like. So if you're going to get a call back, it still functions the same way. If you're an agent and you're logged in and you're set up to receive callbacks, the system will do the same reservation request. So you as an agent being logged in, it's going to tell you, hey, I'm about to send you an outbound call queue. Are you available to take it? You answer it. It makes the call, gets the customer in the queue, and then hands the call off to you just like it was an inbound call. So you don't really have to do anything different except acknowledge the fact that you're able to take this reserved call. And that's pretty much what it does now. So it's just in a different window, that's all. So that's all there is to outbound queuing. It's just going to ask you if you're able to take it, and then it'll complete the call just like it used to. No real change there. And the supervisor functions don't change in this version. So the same supervisor client, they'll get a new client, but it looks and feels exactly the same as the one you're using now. So they won't notice any different. It's only the agents that will see this new web browse interface interaction center with the login and log out from the web page versus from the client itself. And I sent Ryan some links. I don't remember if I copied everybody, but there's some decent little videos on there you can actually watch if you feel like being able to pause it and look at it and listen to somebody else who has a nicer voice than me talk about this. All right, let's see a couple more things. Let's go back to our screen. There's a spot over here where you see your name. You can also sign in and sign out from here by clicking this button. You can also reach your settings. There are some settings that are administratively controlled, so you may or may not have some of these functions, but if you're allowed to get at them, you will be able to do things like check these boxes to say you're allowed to turn this notification on or off. That's where you find it. So under your name, settings, and you can also sign in or sign out right from here. Okay, if you see, let me get another live call going here. I'm going to let this call go into queue so you can see it. Okay, so here comes a call. It's queuing up. I hope. Okay, so now you can see the indicator shows that there's a call in the queue. And now I clicked on it, I can see who's in the queue, where it came from, what call, what phone number they dialed. And then by this green key here, I could actually pick this call up out of the queue manually if I wanted to. If you're allowed to do that, you can click on this green button and actually manually take the call out of the queue. Otherwise, it's going to present this call to the next available agent who becomes available. So if I log back in, hopefully. There, now whoops. Now it's actually sending me this actual call. So now I answered this call and I'm presented those other options. I can see the duration of my call. I can do my wrap-up code. I can ask for help. I can transfer this call. I can conference this call with somebody else. Or I could transfer it to my personal queue. And I think I mentioned that before, but if you guys don't have those set up, but if you did have personal queues, this is where you can take a call and take it out of the main queue and put it in a queue that's set up specifically for you as an agent. And if you ever wanted to activate that so that you can queue calls to hold for specifically just for you, this is where that gets done. I don't think you guys have that activated, but that's what it would do right there. Okay, I think you can see this indicator up here in the left-hand corner changes while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. And then there's your wrap-up code. So now I could end my call with the wrap-up code. Whoops. Decide to check the box to say what I wanted for the wrap-up code. And then end wrap. All right, let me do one more time so you can see that one more time. Show you that one thing here at the end. So at the end of this call, if I'm on the call and I choose to end the wrap, then I put this code in here. And this is where when you are done with entering your wrap-up code, this is where you get the choice to either end this call right now early and take the next call, or you could extend your wrap-up time if you're allowed to do that to finish up some paperwork or do whatever you need to do here. Otherwise, this thing's going to count down until your wrap-up timer goes away, and then it will actually just be done. You're ready for the next call. Okay, so I'll review that one more time. So your status button up here. So once you're logged in, you land on this page as an agent. This is where you say I'm available. This is where you say I'm going to log in and out of my queue. This is where you're able to do release and resume as it is on your communicator now. Stop taking and start taking requests. And then you can use a code right here also, whatever's programmed in there now. So you could say the code, going to lunch, going to break, whatever you're set up to do, that's where it happens. Again, across the top, you can sign in and sign out here. This is where you access your settings. This is your agent status. So other agents in the queue, you can click on them and see what they're in the middle of, what queues they're logged into or not. And then you can see the available queues and what's going on there right here from the Interaction Center. And one more time about the key performance indicators across the bottom. This is where it shows you what's going on with each individual queue. In this case, we have the 2 queues here, customer service and the demo group. How many calls are in queue? What's the average wait time? How many agents are idle for that queue? And how many agents are in release mode? What's the abandoned call look like? call count look like? Like I said, we can customize these for whatever report options are available to you there, and make this demo board present the 5 or 6 things that you guys care about. So this is just our demo setup. And I think that pretty much covers what happens on the agent side, unless anybody has any specific questions you want to ask about it. I'll try to answer them. Does that make sense for everybody? If you have your communicator now, this is built into the communicator itself. It's integrated as part of that. And all that's really happening is it's being taken out of the communicator client and put into a web browser. So the same functionality now happens from a web browser. And you can see the login up here. This is just where you go now to log in as an agent. And then you see this dashboard and get all the features that you had before in a little bit of a different format, but things still work the same way. Nothing really changes in terms of functionality and what happens to the customer and how calls are presented to the queue and how you log in and log out. It's just in a little bit of a different spot, and it's all right here in this browser. Anybody have any specific questions? Yeah.
Yeah. This is John. Did you show release codes?
Yeah, I'll show it again. So John, so if you,
I was a little bit late, so
sorry, that's all right.
Missed that part. Yeah,
hey, there's stuff happens these days. Yeah, so right here, when you decide to stop taking requests, basically what's called release and resume in the contact center now inside of your client is now called stop taking requests or start taking requests, right? It's this button right here.
Okay.
And then we can put whatever codes you guys want in here. This just happens to be what's in our demo lab switch. So you could say break, lunch, training, out in a meeting, whatever. I got approved, busy to be out of here. You tell it what reason you're taking a release right now, and then that's where the code goes for report purposes.
And the codes that we are currently using in the system before the upgrade will be available.
Yeah. Yes, barring any surprises from Mitel, yes.
Sure.
So yeah, same codes. All that's the same.
Okay. And Amanda Walton, are you ready to use this overnight next week, or you got any questions?
Can you show again how you make it outbound call?
Oh, well, you mean, were you talking about an outbound agent call, or are you talking about an outbound phone call?
Like a phone call to a customer.
But would you be manually calling that, or are you talking about an outbound call that the system made that was in the queue?
Like if I was going to call them back, like I needed to place my first call.
Okay, but we just need to be careful to differentiate here.
Yeah, so Jerry, why don't you do both? One will be, because we do have some calls where the ACD is responding to a callback request.
Right, and that's the one I just showed. Here's that one. Let me show you that. Let's pull that up and talk about that real quick. So I can't demonstrate that live here on the lab switch, but this is what it looks like. Can you see that picture? So when you're logged in,
I'm not seeing the picture. What picture are you? We looking at?
Is it not sharing that screen right now? I can see it.
I'm just seeing the web browser right now still.
Oh, let me see if I can switch. Let me see if I could switch it to the right screen. It's okay. Sorry about that. It's not perfectly clear which screen I'm sharing.
Okay, now we got a camera that's.
So now you've got the meeting. And now let me see if I can see it.
Your initials.
How about that? How's that?
Okay, now we're seeing a PNG image file.
Yeah, okay, perfect. But you see the screen, you see the little red and the green dot over there where it says unassigned?
Yes.
And it says reservation required, reservation request, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what'll pop up when you're an agent and you're logged in. You'll just see this little screen like you. How does it notifies you right now, right? We have it set up so that if you're getting an outbound reserved call, it tells you, hey, are you ready to take this outbound call I'm about to hand you?
Okay.
Do you acknowledge that right now in your communicator? I think we can turn that off, but usually we have that turned on so that if the outbound call center is making an outbound call for you for somebody who requested a callback, it's going to, usually as an agent, it tells you, hey, I'm getting ready to send you an outbound dial up queue call. Are you ready to take this call? Because it reserves you before it tries to get the customer on the phone.
And Amanda, I think you guys have it working that way. Is that correct?
It just comes in like a regular call.
Yeah. And that will still work the same way. It may not be turned on, so you can have that feature or not. Usually there's a little request thing that pops up and says, hey, are you ready to take this outbound call I'm about to give you?
We do get those every now and then where we have to click yes or no.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything different then. It's going to seem the same to the agents, although it might look slightly different. You will get notified. The system will try to tell you, hey, I'm about to make an outbound queue call here for someone said they want a call back. You're an available agent. You're logged in, so I'm giving it to you. Are you ready to take this? And then when you say yes, it makes the call and connects you to that customer.
Okay. And then I think Amanda was also asking to see if she just has a phone number written down and she wants to manually call somebody.
Okay, so remember, the part we're talking about right now is strictly call center. Your communicator will not really change. So let me see if I can show you that. Let me see if I can show you that before we leave here, since we're on the subject.
And for us, the communicator functionality seems very similar, but it looks totally different.
Yeah, so you've already been sitting through that. Can you see this?
We're still seeing the same file with the unassigned.
It's weird how this team sharing work. It doesn't, even though I put it on the same screen, I'm not sure why it chooses to show.
It's because so many people show stuff that they don't intend to, that they increase the control on that. Yeah.
I need to do a little more homework on how these screen shares change, because it looks to me like I'm sharing it, but it's not abundantly clear. Oh, here we go. All right. So here's what the Connect client looks like. Hopefully.
So we touched base last week on the.
Can you see that now,
client, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. Can you? That's all right. I got it, Gloria. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, good. Just making sure. So the contact center browser and the agent login, what's now called the agent interaction center, what we just went over, is all browser based and not connected to this Mitel client now. So the Connect client, what you know as communicator, is now in this window that you see right here. And this is for everybody in the system, not just the call center agents, right? Everybody can have this communicator client or Connect client and operate their call management the same way as they did before. So you can make an outbound call right from here. You can just type the phone number in right here and dial it.
Okay.
Right?
Does that make sense, Amanda?
And this
How
is where
did you get to that?
Well, it's called Connect Client. It will be an icon on your desktop that shows Mitel Connect. It's a blue phone.
Okay, got it.
And you could separate this. So like you could have this over here, running on the left-hand side, or if you have two monitors or more, you could put this on one monitor and you can have the browser-based contact center on a different one.
And we're going to have training on the Connect client on the 23rd. We have several classes scheduled already.
So that's actually the biggest difference about the whole thing here, is that what you now have integrated in your ShoreTel communicator client is both of these things. You have the client, the call manager, the ShoreTel communicator as they used to call it, and then you have the integrated toolbar for the enhanced call center, which is the agent interaction center now. So what they've done is they've separated these two. The Connect client is just the call manager. Everybody on the system can have all these features for your contacts, your voicemails, your messaging, your work groups, any other things that are set up here. You can do all that from your community, including dialing phone numbers, assigning your phone, and all that good stuff. Everybody can have that, including non-call center agents. The web browser piece where you log in that we just went through, that's where I'm trying to get it back up on the screen here. That's where you actually log in and out of the contact center. And then that piece, hopefully you can see it now. This piece is for the agents. Strictly the agents. The other people on the system will not have this web browser ability to log in and out of the queues and do any call center interaction. They'll be completely separated.
Okay.
Right.
Rocha, any questions from you? Amanda Rocha?
Did you say Rocha? Oh, yeah, I'm here. I wasn't sure if you said my name. No, I think I get it.
For the most part, they just moved your cheese. I mean, all the functionality is still there and still very similar, just in a different spot. And you're going to find it all on this page from the call center piece. So
Okay.
it no matter what you do, it still takes a couple days to get used to it. But as far as the customers are concerned, agents are going to log in, they're going to log out, they're going to do stop taking requests and start taking requests, and calls are going to come in, and automatic callbacks are going to happen very similar to the way they did before, just in a slightly different place.
Okay. Summer, how about you?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you. So when you went to end the call, there was a drop down where you were able to select things like follow up, happy customer, refer to management.
Wrap up
when
codes.
When you select on, like, let's say refer to management, do they get notified
So
when you select that?
Yeah, the thing about wrap up codes is they're made for reports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you looking at my screen again?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a live call. I'm taking it. Now, if I do the end wrap here, and now there's the pull down you were talking about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we tell the system if you're allowed to use wrap up codes, and do you guys use wrap up codes now?
Yes, we do have them.
So
we do not use wrap up codes right now.
Okay. Yeah, some places don't. So what happens if you have wrap up codes activated is you tell us what you want these fields to say, and it's useful for after the call reporting options. So basically you're asking your agents, hey, tell me how this call ended. Is this a happy customer? Do we need to follow up? Is this a new sale? Should I refer this to management? These are just the ones I picked to name. We can do whatever you want, whatever's appropriate for you guys. We can set up a wrap up code.
Summer, it sounded like you thought we do use wrap-up codes. Are you thinking of release codes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Let me,
those are different.
Yeah, let me cover that real quick.
Release codes are why aren't you on the phone, and a wrap-up code is about the phone call.
That's right. Release codes are agents taking a break, going to lunch. I'm here, I'm logged in, but for whatever reason, I am not taking calls at the moment. I'm putting myself out of the queue. And those reasons are usually for management reports to say, okay, how many people are going to lunch at, on time, and how many people are on break, and all the things you need to take into account when you're staffing a desk. And then at the end of the call, like John said, are the ones that you use for the agents to, if you want to collect some useful information about how that call ended and what you want to know about that call, that's what wrap-up codes are used for, and we can definitely set those up if you want to do it.
Okay.
So what happens
another question.
Sure, go ahead.
No, you can finish on.
So what happens is when I wrap up, when I finish here, this is where you're telling the system too. Some places it's really nice to tell the customer, the agent, hey, I want to know what happened here. But so I'm going to give you 30 seconds to wrap up this call, finish up a little paperwork, and answer this question before you move on to the next call. So right now, this agent's not available to take a call until they click this button and say, okay, I'm done, give me another call.
Okay.
So wrap up timers and wrap up codes can be handy for A, gathering information about how that call ended, and B, giving the agent a bit of time to finish paperwork or whatever they need to do before another call gets dumped on them and they can't finish.
Like the call log, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, generally it's a paperwork thing, like in insurance companies or medical places where they'll want to take a call. They might be on the call for 2 or 3 minutes, and then they need another 30 or 45 seconds to finish doing some paperwork and finishing up, or inputting some data into the system. before they want to get
Mhm.
another call and start interacting with another customer, it just gets confusing. So that wrap up timer and wrap up code is where you use those things.
Okay.
Make sense?
And
And then,
Summer,
yes,
you said you had another question?
yes, I do. What is it? The Connect client? I think
Right.
that's the desk icon that we're gonna have.
That's right.
There was an icon there on there that said message or messages. Are those messages able to be sent to anybody that we're working with?
Yeah, I don't know if you have that. Do you have the instant messaging set up right now on the communicator, or are you using instant messaging?
No.
Okay, so
No.
you're not going to have it there by default when we do the upgrade, but if you want to have it, we can certainly activate that. If you have the conference server set up, there's a feature where we activate that messaging tab and we can set up the instant messaging, and then you will actually have internal secure IM chat, if you will, between people inside of the ShoreTel, Mitel.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what that messaging tab is, basically internal IM. If you're using something like Teams or anything else already, that may not make any sense because of from a training standpoint. If you don't have any kind of in-house chat at the moment, we can certainly activate that and use that, and then you will have that messaging will happen on the Mitel client itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then what about ECC supervisor, agent manager? And
Yeah, that's all exactly the same. That's all exactly the same, John. That the supervisor client, while we'll give you a new client to install, we'll have to remove the old one and install a new one. You will not see any difference from the supervisory level. Everything is the same.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
And also automated reports, scheduled reports.
Yeah,
all
that's
that.
all the same.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
No.
That's no problem. If you have any, just email us here, John, or whoever would like you. Just email support if you do, and we'll get them answered, or we'll set up another session for individual people or whatever you need.
Okay, and then I think I heard Gloria say there was going to be another round of Connect training next week. Is that right, Gloria?
And that's correct. So on the 23rd, we have training at 10, 11, and noon.
Okay, and when is the cutover? Is it up the 23rd or the 24th?
The evening of the 23rd, so after
Okay.
business hours, we will be upgrading you.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah, and it's better not to do that too soon because you'll forget it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I asked about the recordings as well, just because because we're doing all this during business hours, we have to keep at least half the team taking calls while we're talking right now, for example.
Hey, John, did you see the video links I sent over?
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing those. That kind of stuff is very useful because then when they have a slow period, they can look through that stuff and
they don't have to listen to me ramble.
Me.
Yeah, and they can. The nice thing about the videos is you can pause them and then back them up, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's all good stuff. And then the thing I probably asked too much is if something goes haywire, we can just roll back.
Yeah. Usually it doesn't, but it's not that it has not happened before. There's a server involved, and sometimes things happen.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we can roll back. We have a backup, and we can and will roll back if we run into something terrible.
Okay. We just want to make sure these guys have been very busy, understandably. And with the vaccine, they're supporting the massage industry in California, and with the vaccine coming out, there's lots of questions, lots of calls they're dealing with. So they definitely don't want to be unavailable for any extended period of time.
Yeah. No, we'll if we run into anything weird, we've done a lot of these, and they usually the ECC part's usually better than the Mitel Connect part. So usually we get through it. If there's a big problem, it'll be just status normal.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And unless anybody else has any final stuff, we'll let you guys get ready for the next one.
Okay, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Good. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.